Notice of the public, if you wish to address the council, please complete the public wishing to address the council form. It's located on either end of the table, also near the entrance of the building. Give it to either the chairman, you can give it to me, or really give it to Tammy. Prior to the beginning of the meeting, individuals addressing the council should be respectful of others in their choice of words and actions. All cell phones, pagers, and electronic devices used for communication should be silenced for the duration of this meeting. I now call the meeting of the Terrebonne Parish Council Wednesday, May 12th, 2021 to order. And ask Mr. Carl Harding, could you please lead us in a prayer and a pledge?
Heavenly Father, it is me that's standing in the need of prayer. Oh God, we ask that you grant us the serenity to accept the things that we cannot change and the courage to change those things we cannot, and the wisdom to know the difference. As we that are here, oh God, we ask that you look at all these different council districts, oh God, and allow us to be one body as a council, taking care of the needs of this parish, oh God. I would like to ask a special blessing upon the Trustclair family, oh God, for Mr. Floyd Trustclair as they go through their bereavement. And we ask that you bless all of them and their possessions, oh God, in your darling Son, Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ms. Margot, would you conduct a roll call?
Mr. Lavin?
Here.
Mr. Dirk Guidry?
Here.
Mr. Trosclair? Mr. Navy? Mr. Harding?
Here.
Mr. Michel?
Here.
Mr. Amity?
Here.
Ms. Domingue? Here. Mr. Darren Guidry?
Here.
Mr. Chairman, we have a quorum present.
Thank you very much. I have two letters I'd like to read. One says, please accept my apologies for not being in attendance at tonight's council meetings due to a death in the family. I have reviewed the agendas and have made known my concerns. I apologize for any inconvenience my absence may cause. And this was signed by Mr. Steve Trosclair. Also, please be advised that I will be unable to attend tonight's meeting due to a personal matter. I have reviewed the agendas as well and have made them known my concerns. I also apologize for any inconvenience. And that was Mr. John Navy. Moving on to the agenda. Approved minutes of the regular council session held on April 14th, 2021. Moved by Mr. John Amity. Seconded by Mr. Gerald Michel. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Distribute minutes of the special council session condemnations held on April 26, 2021, which we've done. Distribute minutes of the regular council session held on April 28, 2021, which has been done. Approve accounts payable bill list for May 3rd, 2021 and May 10th, 2021. Moved by Mr. Dirk Guidry, seconded by Mr. John Amity. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Item 1, general business, presentation by Mr. Bryce Michel with Louisiana Outdoor Advertising's TV, who wishes to address the council regarding tourism in Terrebonne Parish. Is Mr. Michel here? Okay. We'll move on. Item B, SLECA is requesting to address the council regarding the Ashland substation reliability of service and safety. If you don't mind, state your name and address for the record. Absolutely.
My name is Joe Tickelai, and I am the general manager of SLECA. And I want to first thank the council for the opportunity to address you tonight. And I promise you only two things. I promise you we'll be informative, and I promise you we'll be as brief as possible. Our purpose for coming here tonight is simply to provide the council with information about an issue that we feel is very critical to the SLECA management and also the SLECA Board of Directors. We are not here tonight to ask the council for anything. We're simply here to provide you with information that you may or you may not already know. And the issue that we're here tonight to talk to you about has to do with reliability issues affecting SLECA's Ashland substation, and that's due to a wetlands mitigation bank that's already been built surrounding the substation and our lines coming from that substation. First, let me just give you this is not working. Okay. Try it. Well, it worked a while ago.
Where do they point at, Ms. Tammy? They point it at your computer, or do they point at the?
There it goes, Councilman, there it goes. Thank you. Sorry about that with the technical problems, but first let me just tell you a little bit, and I know I'm speaking to the choir, about the Ashland substation. The Ashland substation is our second largest substation in the 5 parishes that we serve. It provides electric power to 5,161 SLECA consumers in Terrebonne Parish. That's 23% of SLECA's total customer base. So in other words, almost a quarter of all of SLECA's customers in the 5 parishes that we serve is served from that Ashland substation. And that represents 22.5% of SLECA's total load. And again, I know I'm preaching to the choir, but the Ashland substation services the Ashland area, Dulac, Dularge from Industrial Avenue South. And just to give you a little graphics of what I'm talking about, I'm going to have Matt Peters, our operations superintendent, just kind of describe the Ashland substation service territory map.
Good afternoon. So just to give you an idea of what the Ashland substation serves. So I'm trying to get so if you go from Ashland substation, if you go north to Industrial Boulevard, and one corner of this would be Schaubert Medical, across Industrial Boulevard to Chet Morrison, and everything south of Chet Morrison going to Grand Pass at the very lower end of Dularge, and everything south of Chet Morrison going all the way to the very end of Grand Caille. We do have a substation, Dulac substation right there, but that is fed from the Ashland substation. So if there's any issues at the Ashland substation, it affects everything in this red box. Just to give y'all an idea of the territory that is served from.
I said earlier that the Ashland substation was our second largest substation in the 5 parishes that we serve. That is true. What I didn't tell you is that the Ashland substation is probably our most important substation in the 5 parishes that we serve. And that's because of all the large industry, the commercial businesses, all of the different variety of businesses that depend on Ashland substation for their electric power. I really don't think it's an exaggeration, or I don't think I'm being overly dramatic or theatrical when I say that the Ashland substation provides the electricity, the fuel, the power that runs the economic engine of Terrebonne Parish. And let me show you what I mean. For example, Schaubert Medical Center gets their electricity from Ashland substation. The Marganza to the Gulf infrastructure, including the Bubba Dove floodgate, Jimmy DeGate floodgate, Bayou Grand Caille floodgate, they get their electricity from the Ashland substation. Now, do those floodgates have backup generation? They do. But if that Ashland substation goes down and you have a generator, you have absolutely no redundancy. And if that generator fails, Schaubert's out of power until we can get that power back on. Port Commission, the Customs Border Protection, the Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE, just a number of establishments of the Terrebonne Port Commission, they get their power from the Ashland substation. Drainage pumps require power from Ashland. The sewage treatment plants behind the Ashland Jail that serve all of Houma gets their electricity from Ashland Substation. The very thing that makes Terrebonne Parish famous worldwide is energized by Ashland. The oil and gas industry literally powers America, gets their power from the Ashland Substation. Fire stations are served by Ashland. Schools. Let's get more specific. La Ship wouldn't operate without Ashland Substation. Bollinger, the old Gulf Island Yard, gets their power from Ashland. Enterprise Marine, pipeline construction maintenance, and many, many others. These are just a few of the very large industries that depend on Ashland to get their electricity. Now, all of these industries and all of these businesses that are absolutely vital to the economic well-being of Terrebonne Parish, Ashland does one more thing. It provides power to those industries and businesses, but it also provides jobs, thousands of jobs, not just for people who live in the Ashland, Dulac, and Dularge area. Those businesses that Ashland provides power for provides jobs for people in all of your districts. So it's critical for the whole Terrebonne Parish. And as important as the industry is for the economic well-being of the parish, let's not forget that the power that comes out of Ashland Substation serves thousands of Sleeka consumers who are also tax-paying residents of Terrebonne Parish. Many of them are elderly, many of them are on life support and other medical devices. Now I'm going to call up Sleeka's manager of engineering, and he's going to talk a little bit about the wetlands mitigation bank that has already been built in and around our substation and our power lines. I will give the council the courtesy of knowing that we are in litigation with this, so we can't really go into a lot of detail, but we'll say as much as we can. Brett?
Good evening. So, as Mr. Tickleye alluded to, there's a wetlands mitigation bank that has been built and currently surrounds our Ashland substation. And a wetland mitigation bank, you may all recognize it by the name of a cypress swamp or a marsh or something of that nature. And so the basis of the mitigation bank is you have to plant vegetation, you need hydrology, you need water on the property. And so to accomplish that, you can do several things. Building levees, degrading levees, removing culverts, installing earthen plugs, essentially filling in ditches that were used to drain property. All of these things are part of building mitigation banks and can be used as tools to create a wetland mitigation bank. I have a general map of what you'll see here is the general site that we're talking about. And here in yellow, at the bottom is our substation. It's at the bottom portion of the map. And everything in red is the power lines that come from that substation that serve the lower part of the parish. You can see we've put a few notes in there just to give you an idea of the geographical areas that we serve. You can see off to the left, that's our line that feeds all of Dularge. It goes west and it goes under the Houma Canal, and then it splits and goes north and south and catches everything from Chet Morrison all the way down to Grand Pass. We have a line that feeds from that substation down to Dulac. The line that goes north through the mitigation bank is responsible for feeding Denley and Dixon Road, going north all the way to Chabert Medical and the port. And so on the map, you can see that we have two lines going north, two red lines. That's our power lines. And on the right side, you can tell, on the left side is very dark green, and that's an existing marsh. It's an existing mitigation bank. Well, when we say the mitigation bank's been created and it's already built, we're talking about the portion on the right-hand side of the map that's lightly shaded. That portion has been used previously for sugarcane farming. It was always farmed sugarcane for years and years, and that area is, when we say it's been constructed into a mitigation bank, that's the areas that we're talking about. That's just to give you a little idea of our substation and the land that we're talking about. Now, the mitigation bank is built and they have some effects, and some general effects that we have are drainage, access to our facilities, restoring outages in a timely fashion, and safety. Now, drainage, I spoke on briefly. You have to have hydrology in order to create a wetland. You have to have water. So the drainage of the site's going to be affected. Access to our facilities, because of that water that's now on the site, it's going to cause us longer outage times to maintain, to rebuild, to do what we need to do. And then safety, generally speaking, I think everybody understands that electricity and water do not mix. I mean, it's very unsafe. It creates lots of hazards for our guys, and they're already in one of the most dangerous fields you can be in. And so to make it more dangerous, you know, it's very unsafe. Now I have one photo, the next slide's a photo, and when we say they've degraded, when we say they can degrade ditches or degrade levees, we're gonna show you one point where a headland road has been degraded. And so as you can see, where the picture was taken from, we're looking south, and that was a road that's been used to maintain our lines for years and years. And so an access gap was cut in the road. And so that was to allow the water to flow from the existing marsh and into the mitigation bank surrounding the property. If you look, I know it's hard to see, but you can see our power pole in the picture, and just to the left of it in the distance, you can see an antenna tower. If you look closely, that is at our Ashland substation, to give you a reference of what we're looking at. And what's important about this picture is if that pole that's on the other side of that water is to break, or if a buzzard was to get in the lines and cause an outage, we currently don't have any way to access that pole because of this road gap and because of another canal that pretty much puts that pole on an island. Next, I have a couple of videos that we'd like you to see, and we believe that pictures are worth 1,000 words, and I think the videos will do a much better job of explaining it than I ever could. So we're coming, this video is a drone video. We're coming from Highway 57 going towards the Houma Nav Canal. And just bear with us, the drones don't fly as fast as we would like them to. So what you're gonna see coming up on the right is our substation. This video was taken on March 24th after a substantial rain. The rain happened the day before and into the night. This video was taken the next day. This is just one rain event. That is our Ashland substation after that one-day rain event. Sir?
Levees that are surrounded, or is it?
There's a levee on the
Hold on.
backside.
Mr. Michel, go ahead and ask your question.
I'm sorry, my question is that levees I'm seeing, or, because you can't tell by the perspective, or is it just,
Yeah, on the backside, so when we were flying in, that was a levee, yes,
so
sir.
is are levees holding water in?
Because of the litigation that's going on, we can't really get into specifics on the drainage.
You can continue. I'm sorry.
So I want you guys to imagine having to do any type of work. I think at a very young age, everybody was taught electricity and water do not mix. I mean, just as a kid, you're not going to go swimming. You know, your parents make you get out of the pool whenever there's an electrical storm in the area. And so that's essentially one big swimming pool that our guys would have to work in. It creates very hazardous conditions and is very, very unsafe.
Okay, hold on. Mr. Michel, go ahead.
And I apologize. I'm not sure why we're looking at this if we can't really discuss it because of litigation, and I'm not sure what y'all objective is, and I'd really like to know that so I can have that in the back of my mind as we're moving forward.
So,
Y'all objective as it relates to the council.
so we're here to inform your constituents of the potential problems that we're going to face moving forward.
Okay. All right, very good. Thank you.
And if power goes out here and you can't get to a light pole and people are wondering why it takes so long, you're informing the council so we can inform our constituents.
Yes,
I
sir.
guess. Okay. Go ahead and continue, Brett.
So the lines you see to the right, and we're flying from south to north, and you'll see two lines right here, and the one on the right is for Sleeka, and so you can see the standing water, and as the video progresses, you're going to see more and more of that. Next slide. So I think it's important for us to point out that the equipment that Sleeka regularly uses, it can no longer be used in an area like this when you start to hold water and the ground conditions get soft. Sleeka doesn't have the equipment. You know, our regular equipment is bucket trucks. It's meant for roadways and hard surfaces. And so the equipment needed to maintain these lines is not owned by Sleeka. Go ahead, next slide. So this last video is taken from the north side of the property, and so at this point we're coming from Thompson Road and we're flying south towards the substation. So there's the levee at the north end of the project, at the north end of the site, and
And Mr. Bavin, before I recognize you,
I'm gonna wait till you finish.
you're going to wait till you finish? Okay.
So the lines from the north end of the property to the substation is roughly, it's a little less than 2 miles worth of power lines. And this is the line, again, that feeds Chabert Medical, all of back at Denley and Dixon Road and all of that industrial area that's right there. And here, you're gonna see the video, it's gonna pan up and you're gonna see our substation in the background just for a reference point. You can pause the video. That's it. It's pretty much the drone's just going to turn around and fly right back where it came from. So, if you guys have any questions, I'll do my best.
Okay, before we make comments, Mr. Hebert has some advice.
Yeah, I'm advising the council not to discuss this tonight. I am aware that we have some, at least some pending things to review. The land company involved is JMBJ. I was unaware that litigation had been started. I thought that there was going to be no litigation, and I'm just finding out that some lawsuits have been filed involving Clico Energy. I don't know about Clico yet, but Energy and Sleeka, and I don't know if JMB is involved with it, but there were some. The parish.
Mr.
Have y'all sued the parish in this lawsuit?
Wait. So the question is, what was the question, Mr.?
My question was, has the parish been named as a defendant in this lawsuit? There was some, I believe, some permitting done, and I think at the appropriate time, it's best that we do not comment on this until I have a chance to thoroughly review the file. The file's been sent to me, and I'd like to look at it, and I'll get with the attorney. I find it's funny this is coming up tonight. And
Mr. Hebert, do you see an issue with the council members asking questions?
I would, if you ask questions, you may have to answer questions. I think it's best to listen, and then I'm asking you tonight not to get into it. And if you don't mind, that's my advice, is till I can find out more about what's going on.
Well, that's the advice from our council. Yeah, I think we should probably abide by that. Is there? Okay.
I was unaware that a lawsuit was filed.
Okay, I'm gonna let Mr. Babin go ahead and speak as long as it's not about this particular.
No, you can't stifle the freedom of speech, okay? I can appreciate what Jules is trying to say, but this substation, 95% of the constituents in District 7 are affected directly by this, and that's who I represent, the people in District 7. Last year, we had 5 storms, or 6 storms in the Gulf of Mexico. If this goes out and this is flooded with water, we could have almost the entire part of District 7, which, as they said earlier, was the economic engine, a hospital, out. I think their point in coming here tonight is just to show the public that they represent how dangerous a situation that we may be in, okay? And I saw 2 lines through there. One of them happens to be Terrebonne Parish Consolidated Government's line that feeds the jail. So there is, I think this is very, very important. The parish is not in litigation. I don't understand why we can't ask questions or speak about it, because this affects so many people in this area. Let me ask a question. Last year, you talked about some specialized equipment. Last year with all these storms, did y'all need specialized equipment?
Yes, sir. So we had, during Hurricane Delta, we had some outages in some remote locations that required the very same equipment that would be needed in this particular area. And because of all the storms, because of Hurricane Laura and the ones that came before, we weren't able to acquire that equipment for over 2 months. It took to get a contractor that had the equipment to the site. And
And the area that Brett's talking about was remote camps in Lake Decad. Camps, not on-land residences and industry. And it took 2.5 months to get the specialized equipment to get those camps on. But again, camps, not homes and businesses.
So we looking at the worst case scenario here. I mean, if something happens, and again, it doesn't even have to be a hurricane. If you used the term, I think, buzzards earlier. If you had a buzzard strike in there, we as a parish or you as a sleeker cannot get to the poles in there to change them, to work on them right now, and we're out of power. I think it's very important for the people out there. Look, I've been dealing with Sleeker a long time because our plant is under Sleeker, all right? And I know for a fact that substation, because I was the councilman before, that substation has the ability, if the substation on Southdown Mandalay Road goes out, to use a switch to send power to Barrios and Mulberry that is serviced by Sleeker. So this thing really reaches out a long way. And again, I don't want to mess up any litigation that's going on, but I think the people, especially in District 7, need to see this and think about it, because it could be very, very detrimental to us. We got a beautiful levee system in this parish, and they're going to keep us high and dry. People just won't have electricity. So in any event,
Just one more comment on the visuals that you're seeing. Everything that you see that has water in it used to not have water in it. And I just want to now wrap up and kind of conclude. Oh, do we have any?
Yeah, let's go ahead and, Mr. Harding?
Yes, hopefully I can retain the light too, because while reviewing this and realizing that it is a presentation, of course, I have a platform here, and hopefully I can ask a couple of questions. One of the questions that I had to ask you was speaking in reference to who they were in court with. That question was answered. You mentioned jobs over 5 parishes. That was a concern to me. And then the percentage of that Ashland substation. I did have a question, and I think he answered that. Part of that question was in South Louisiana, and when I saw the road, and you had to go a little bit further down the road in South Louisiana, there is some type of equipment that other people use, and that's I'm only asking, and I understand the scope that I'm in now, because now as it progressed, my thoughts somewhat changed, but then allowing the platform, and I'm just getting this, and I don't want to be put in this situation again. You said something just now in reference to camps, homes, not businesses.
That the Ashland substation serves, it serves all of those.
Okay.
But what I just said was in Hurricane Delta, we needed specialized equipment to get the power back on at remote camps in Lake Decad. and because the camps were out because of the hurricane and the high winds, and it took two and a half months to get that specialized equipment because it was all in southwest Louisiana, in Cameron, in Jeff Davis area, because of Hurricane Laura, and we had to wait our turn to get it, and it took two and a half months to get that equipment to get the camps back on, but homes and businesses were not affected during that hurricane.
Okay, and yeah, I'm good now. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Mr. Dirk Gidry?
Yeah, just by looking at this, if Sleeker had to go out and buy the specialized equipment, what would the price be of this specialized equipment? Any idea?
You want to answer that, Matt? Matt's our operations superintendent. He's an expert on specialized equipment.
So, Mr. Dirk Gidry, no utility company that I know of owns this equipment. Contractors are the ones that own this equipment because the cost of it is so much, it doesn't pay for one utility company to have it and only use it a handful of times. So when you're looking at a price, I would say at least $500,000, if not $750,000 for one piece of equipment.
Right. And if our power lines, if Terrebonne, our power lines go through the same thing, so we'd have the same problem trying to get power to the jailhouse.
Your power lines parallel ours, so whatever obstacles we would face, y'all would probably face the same. Yes, sir.
And we're gonna go back to the deal with the buzzing. I know during the hurricane, FEMA would come back and reimburse Terrebonne Parish for the monies we had to spend, but if a buzzard would go and land in it, then that would be something that we'd have to pay to get all the prisoners evacuated out of the jailhouse and moved to another prison for 2.5 months until possibly we could get specialized equipment. Go ahead.
When we talk about a buzzard or a wire down or a cross arm down, that is something that us, meaning the linemen, can handle. It's when the pole goes down. There's no way of getting the pole and standing a pole that weighs thousands of pounds back up in the air. So when you're looking at a buzzard or a cross arm or a wire, you're talking about hours. I mean, I'm talking 10 to 15 hours. Whereas a normal outage on the side of a road or behind a house would be just a few hours, if not an hour for us. But that remote location is very, very hard to get once that gap was cut.
Okay, just so let's go back to the power plant. When we seen all that water sitting in there, how would you guys go in there with all this water? Because I would never go in there and stand up or whatever I got to do in this water to work on this hot. How much voltage and all they got on this place?
So the transmission line that comes in is 115,000 volts. And then in that video, you see two transformers. So those two transformers take 115,000 and bring it down to 13,200. And that's what leaves out of the station on our lines to feed our members of our parish, you know, of the residents of the lower part of the parish. So when we talk about water and electricity, like Mr. Brett said, we know it doesn't mix. You know, so we're putting ourselves in danger every time we have to go in there and there's standing water in there. I mean, we take every precaution necessary, you know, but I mean, everybody wants electricity.
And before this mitigation bank or whatever was being built, did y'all have that problem with all that water in there? Or
Okay, so prior to the Morganza to the Gulf levee system, we've had water issues in that when the surge comes up. And I'll be completely honest, when Hurricane Barry came in 2 years ago, I was wondering if the system was going to work, and it did. This is the first time we didn't have to muck out water out of our substation, the Dulac station being normally in full of water. So the water did stop. So we've had issues with water prior to it with storm events. Hurricane Barry, we had issues on those lines that we used track equipment, but there was no standing water. We have pictures of the track equipment in the grass that we were tracking across.
and Sleeker, y'all said it has y'all service 5 different parishes?
Yes, sir. We service Terrebonne, Lafourche, St. Mary, St. Martin, and Assumption.
And some of this goes through the substation, Matt?
No,
or
that's
different
the
substation?
that's just the one of many substations we have, but that's the one that feeds basically the lower part of Terrebonne Parish that Sleek is responsible for.
But since you're a cooperative, if y'all had problems where y'all had to move these poles yourself, and I'm pretty sure it'd be very costly to move these poles out
Yes,
of
sir.
this marsh, because you don't have the specialized equipment.
No, sir.
You would have to pass the savings on not only to Terrebonne Parish residents, but you'd have to put the savings on to 5 different parishes. You'd have to have a rate increase.
Unnecessarily, yes, sir. That's basically how it would work. More than likely, yes, sir.
So we got an individual or corporation, JB or whatever what it was, I forget the name that y'all just said, that's doing this mitigation bank. You're telling me they making money off of this mitigation bank, because when you you sell property to a mitigation bank, you get paid hefty. You get paid a good price, because I know there's a few of them down in Chauvin, and these people got paid good money. But, you know,
I can't answer that. No, sir, Mr. Dirk.
yeah, let me ask you, administration, did we give a permit to do this, or do they need a permit for this? Chris?
The permit type that they would need, they might need trade permits associated with this, but I'm not aware of any building permits that have been issued on this.
So the Terrebonne Parish government know they were doing this mitigation project?
Well, that would be a question for either Mark Black or
Mr. Toops, you knew
maybe
about it?
administration.
So nobody knew that it could end up being a catastrophe, not only to Sleeker customers, but also to the jailhouse, where the sheriff's sitting in the back. I know he don't want no catastrophe and have to move his. I mean, how can we just let this come in Terrebonne Parish and not say a word? I mean, it's ridiculous that this is in our backyard, and this is the first time I hear about this, where we can lose 5,000 something customers. But not only that, but we can lose Chauvin Medical Center, we can lose Bollinger, we can lose Thomasy, we can lose all these people for what? Like y'all just said, it took 2.5 months to get equipment. So are we willing to let this mitigation project go? I don't know if it's signed off on or whatever, but are we willing to sacrifice the jobs in Terrebonne Parish for 2.5 months? It's ridiculous. Thank you.
Mr. Babin?
Yeah, watching the video, and I see 2 separate and important things there. I see the substation that's flooded, and I mean, we all in government, when we're living in South Louisiana, are aware of creating a forced drainage area. And again, I'm just talking as a councilman. To me, you got a problem there that you'd have to, if it didn't hold water before, you're gonna have to wring it off with something, be it sheet pile or levee or whatever, and then put a pump in there to get it out. That's one problem. The other one is the lines. If you had to redo all those lines to get it out of there, to be able to work on them if a catastrophe hit, you're talking sizable amount of money. I mean, I don't know because I'm not in the electric business, but just knowing what things cost, we're looking at probably 10, 15, maybe as much as $20 million to do all of that. And as Dirk alluded to, if that happens, that cost is, you're gonna have to go before the Public Service Commission to get an approval for a rate hike. Am I right?
Probably, yes.
Okay, so then that means everybody in Sleeker, in Terrebonne Parish, and I'm not worried about the people in the other parishes, but they're gonna have to pick up the slack also. People in Terrebonne Parish that are serviced by Sleeker are gonna have a rate increase. And I mean, that may be speculation. Well, let me ask you this, does Sleeker have $15 million in their pocket to fix something?
No, I don't.
So you have to go before the Public Service Commission and ask if you could even ask for a rate increase. So I think this is very important, and you said it when you first got up here tonight, that this was more informational to us and the people watching it, and hopefully the news media's pick this up and let the people see what could possibly happen. You just, you know, instead of reacting, you're trying to plan, and that's good. So again, I think it's an eye-opening presentation for sure. And again, I'm quite partial because 90% of the people I represent are on Sleeker.
Right.
All right, thank you.
Mr. Guidry?
You know, I don't know if Oxford Chabad Medical Center knows about this, where they could have a problem in the future, or Bollinger that just bought Gulf Island Shipyard, Thomas C. knows that they could have a problem in the future. I mean, it just blows my mind that Terrebonne Parish as a government doesn't know what's going on in our own backyard. And I know it affects a lot of people in Danny's district, but look, guys, it affects everybody in Terrebonne Parish, because it don't matter what part of the parish you come from, people work. They can live in North Terrebonne, but they work in these industries down here, you know? It's just like when we spent all kind of money for hurricane protection. It wasn't just for the people of lower parts of Terrebonne Parish. It was for people that lived up North Terrebonne Parish, so they could have a place to job, a place to come to work and support their families. I mean, is this signed off on, or is there still something that we could be done? You don't know nothing about it, Mr. Toops? I mean, it's kind of hard to ask the administration a question when nobody even in the administration knows about this.
And I don't think that was your intention to ask us for action. I think it was more
No,
information.
Darren,
right?
that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying, how can we have a big ass mitigation project, like this sitting in our backyard and back in Terrebonne Parish off of Highway 57 and not know nothing about it? Is that our parish levies that was in that picture that they manipulated? Nobody knows?
I can't answer that.
I wish somebody could come back and give us some answers. I wish y'all could get back with Mr. Tickelai and Sleeka when y'all have the answers, so they could come back and hear the answers also, because, I mean, this is a big deal. This is a very, very big deal for the people of Terrebonne Parish. So, you know, I just hope we don't drop it like this and just let it go under the way and sweep it under the carpet, because it's sad, Mr. Toops, that nobody even in administration knows about this. And I'm pretty sure some of these levies are Terrebonne Parish levies, you know? Did that mitigation bank have to build onto our levies? You know? I don't know, it blows my mind. Thank you.
Thank you for coming and getting us.
I just wanted to wrap up one more slide.
Oh, go ahead.
And I'm almost finished. And thank you, appreciate the time. But just to wrap up, I want to go on record, and I want to say that SLECA has nothing against wetland mitigation banks. We really think they're good and they're noble endeavors. We support them, we acknowledge them. I'm sure the landowner had good intentions, but just like all of you that have an obligation to your constituents that you serve, I have an obligation as SLECA's manager to the SLECA consumers that I serve. It's an obligation. You can call it a solemn oath, whatever you want to do, whatever you want to call it, but I have an obligation to keep the lights on. And if they were to go out, and they will go out, that's the nature of our industry, to get those lights back on as quickly and as safely as possible. So somebody who might need a portable dialysis can have it. So somebody down there who might need an oxygen tank can have it, or a CPAP machine. Well, it's doing it again, but I just want to, I'm not going to waste time and try to, there you go. Concluding, we feel at SLECA that the residents of Ashland, Dulac, and Dularge, together with, like Chabert Hospital, all the large industry and businesses that drive the economic engine of Terrebonne Parish, we feel they should be given the same assurances, the same guarantees that their electric service will not be compromised, will be reliable and resilient, just like other Terrebonne Parish residents. And I think everybody up on that podium would agree that they deserve nothing less than that. The reason why, my last slide, but the reason why we're here tonight is a timely reason. Hurricane season starts in 20 days from today. At 12 midnight, it'll be 19 days. And they're predicting a very above normal active hurricane season. So it's a timely reason why we are here now. It's bad enough as it is with the pictures you saw, much less having a hurricane. I'm going to end like I began. We're here asking the council for nothing. We come here tonight in good faith as one of the largest taxpayers of Terrebonne Parish. We come here tonight as a good corporate citizen, only to provide you with the information that we know that you would want to know. Because as elected officials and the custodians of the common good of this parish, you would want to know that. And I'm here to answer any questions I might be able to. But thank you for your time. We appreciate it.
Thank you, and I know the council appreciates the enlightenment that we just received. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Motion to go into public hearing by Mr. Gerald Michel. Second, Mr. John Amity. All in favor say aye. Aye. We're in 6:30 public hearing. Item A, an ordinance to rename Gulf Island Road as Bollinger Lane. Public once. Public twice. Third time public. Motion to close by Mr. Gerald Michel, seconded by Mr. Carl Harding. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion to adopt by Mr. Gerald Michel, seconded by Mr. Carl Harding. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Ordinance is adopted. Item B, an ordinance in accordance with Section 18-91 of the Terrebonne Parish Code of Ordinance to include Island Road with a 25 miles per hour speed limit and remove Island Road from the 35 mile per hour speed limit category. Public once. Public twice. Third time public. Motion to close by Mr. Danny Babin, seconded by Mr. Gerald Michel. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion to adopt by Mr. Danny Babin, seconded by Mr. Gerald Michel. All in favor say aye. Aye. Ordinance is adopted. Item C, an ordinance to amend the 2021 adopted operating budget and 5-year capital outlay budget of the Terrebonne Parish Consolidated Government for the following items and to provide for related matters. The Bayou Country Sports Park, $15,000. Parish-wide recreation, $10,000. General Fund Beautification Program, $7,300. Bayou Country Sports Park, $151,891. Little Bayou Black Pump Station, $65,000. Homa Downtown Development, $80,915. Animal Shelter, $30,000. Homa Downtown Development donation, $25,000. Public once. Public twice. Third time public. Motion to close by Mr. John Amity, seconded by Mr. Danny Babin. All in favor say aye. Aye. Motion to adopt by Mr. John Amity. Seconded by Ms. Jessica Domingue. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Ordinance is adopted. Item D, an ordinance to declare vehicles for the Good Earth Transit as past their useful lives and to authorize said items to be disposed of by public bid, negotiated sale, junked, or by any other legally approved methods. Public once. Public twice. Third time public. Motion to close by Gerald Michel, second by Mr. John Amity. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion to adopt by Mr. Gerald Michel, seconded by Mr. John Amity. All in favor say aye. Aye. Ordinance is adopted. An ordinance to amend the Parish Code of Terrebonne Parish, Chapter 18, Section 18-93, to create a no-truck traffic zone along the entirety of Bayou-Side Drive from LA Highway 58 to the Bayou-Side Drive Bridge, thence to Country Drive, and in the entirety of Country Drive through Lower Country Drive, and then Aragon Road to LA Highway 58, and Klondike Road from LA Highway 55 to LA Highway 56. Public once. Public twice. Third time public. Motion to close by Mr. Danny Babin, seconded by Mr. John Amity. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion to adopt by Mr. Danny Babin, seconded by Mr. John Amity. All in favor say aye. Aye. Ordinance is adopted. Motion to go back in regular order by Mr. John Amity. Seconded by Ms. Jessica Domingue. All in favor say aye. Aye. We are back in regular order. Item C, resolution approving the purchase of sheet piling from Sea Level Construction for the Island Road environmental structure. Moved by Mr. Dirk Guidry, seconded by, who seconded? John Amity. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Resolution passes. Item D, resolution approving the purchase of 5 sluice gates from Quality Sidework Materials for the Island Road environmental structure. Moved by Mr. Danny Babin, seconded by Mr. Dirk Guidry. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Resolution passes. Item E, resolution authorizing the parish president or parish manager to award a contract to the contractor submitting the lowest responsible quotation for the construction of the environmental structure on Island Road. Moved by Mr. Dirk Gidry, seconded by Mr. Danny Babin. All in favor say aye. Any opposed? Resolution passes. Item F, introduction of an ordinance to amend the Parish Code of Ordinances to provide for the enforcement of certain traffic violations in designated school zones by automated means and to provide for civil penalties for those violations and call a public hearing on said matter on Wednesday, May 26, 2021 at 6:30 p.m. Moved by Mr. Danny Babin, seconded by Mr. John Amity. All in favor say aye. Any opposed? Mr. Babin?
Yeah, only out of courtesy, the sheriff is in the audience tonight. If you'd like to say anything, we moved this to public hearing from 2 weeks from now, but if you'd like to say something, sir, since you're here.
No problem, Mr. Babin. You beat me to the punch. Sheriff, thank you for coming to our meeting today. Hold on, I'll turn your mic on.
All right, there we go. I usually don't need a mic, but we got all these little glass things out everywhere. But anyway, look, we worked very hard, and I think about 6 or 7 months we brought this to council, and we identified there's a problem. I want to make it clear, we know what the problems are and what we're trying to accomplish. We're staying in the school zones during school hours so we can take care of these issues. There's no mystery about what we're trying to do. I mean, despite what you're seeing is going on in other states or what's happening with this, we're going to keep kids safe. That was the goal behind this whole thing, that we're going to keep kids safe while they're in those schools. I vowed to do it, and I ain't going to give up easy. So I'm going to tell you right now, we're going to push this, and I'll be back, and I will continue to be back until we make this happen. Look, I will tell you this. I appreciate Mr. DeGate, Mr. Gidry. We worked real hard to try to put together a good ordinance. I think we came up with a good agreement that we can make this happen. But I vowed to do it, and we know there was a problem. I gave you all the numbers and the studies. But I appreciate it, and we're going to continue to work hard to make this happen for our children. They deserve it. And I think we owe the best to our children, because the bottom line, 25 years from now, I'm going to be sitting on the porch, and one of those children we're protecting is going to be running the show, and hopefully he's up here trying to make a difference too, just like every one of you. Thank you all very much. God bless you.
Just a caution to the council that we don't discuss any of the details of the ordinance. But other than that, anything else, Mr. Babin?
No,
Ms. Domang?
Yeah, and I understand that we're not going to discuss the details, but I do want to, thank Sheriff Saunier, because I did send him a list of concerns that I had, and I see that you addressed all of those concerns that I had, and so I truly appreciate you listening, and look forward to discussing this in a couple weeks. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. And look, if y'all have questions, call me.
Mr. Michel?
Yeah, and I will call you, sir. I appreciate it. I have 2 questions, but since we're given the bad advice that we can't discuss it because the public isn't worthy of knowing it yet, I'll discuss it with you, and we'll discuss it at public hearing.
But hey, we can record it and put it out on Facebook.
Thank you,
Thank
Mr.
you.
Michel.
I'm good with that.
All right, seeing no further discussion, we will move on to staff reports, updates on drainage, pump stations, generators, and other projects. Mr. Mike Tubes.
Thank you, Chairman Gidry. I emailed the latest biweekly report on Monday to all of the council members, and I would entertain any questions you may have at this time.
I have a question concerning Hanson. How are we on Hanson? I know last time we checked, we were cleaning the lily rakes, sending the diver. We weren't. The contractor was sending divers. Is that still in process? Have we still not complete on that? Have we not accepted substantial completion from the contractor on that, or where are we?
That is correct. The latest I heard from GIS was completion should be scheduled around the end of this month.
Okay, and at that time, I guess we should, by that time, we'll be running 2 pumps, because I imagine we're not going to do substantial completion until...
They should be running all 4 pumps.
Or 4 pumps. Well, if they can run them at the same time. Ms. Domingue.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Tubes. We just were reminded that we're about 30 days until hurricane season, and my question is about the 30-inch pump on St. Louis Canal. Is that going to be up and running before the summer? Do we have a time frame for that?
Yes, ma'am. If you look, the only thing we have left, and I believe we got it, was the steel flanged elbow for the discharge pipe. We did get all of the PVC pipe for the discharge pipe, and we got the fusion machine
We fabricated the discharge pipe. It has been installed. Once the weather cooperates, we should be able to make the final connection. I estimate within a week, 2 weeks at the max, that pump will be completed and operating.
All right, fantastic, thank you.
Mr. Babin?
Yeah, and just to mention for the people in Plantation Gardens, I spoke to Mr. Toops earlier and Mr. Joey Sehan and Public Works. I have a concern on the pump in Plantation Garden. It works fine. I just have a concern that we need to be ready for a hurricane or another big event back there, because last time we came close to having a couple houses that took on water. Also, on the Brady Road situation, there's a pump down there that we don't own, but we need to get some relief to those people. So I just want the people out there to know that those two things are on our radar. Thank you, sir.
Anything else, Mr. Dukes?
I have it on my notes to talk to Mr. Joey Sehan in Mr. Davis Rome's absence tomorrow regarding those situations. Mr. Babin.
Thank you, Mr. Toops. Item 3, public wishing to address the council. Ms. Tammy, did we receive any speaker cards? All right. Moving on. Item 4, committee reports. Budget and Finance Committee, Mr. John Amity.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I make a motion that the council accept and ratify the minutes of the Budget and Finance Committee meeting held on Monday, May 10th, 2021, which calls one public hearing to amend the 2021 adopted operating budget and 5-year capital outlay budget of the Terrebonne Parish Consolidated Government for the following items and to provide for related matters. Martin Luther King Sewer Project, $210,000. Homa Fire Department, $80,000. Homa Police Department, $22,500. General Fund Council Clerk, $16,000. East Homa, East Park Walking Trails, $27,890. Parish-wide Recreation, $26,460. And Road and Bridge Island Road Temp Structure, $250,000. And call a public hearing on said matter on Wednesday, May 26, 2021 at 6:30 p.m.
Thank you, Mr. Amity. Do we have a second? Second by Mr. Danny Babin. All in favor say aye. Any opposed? Item B, Public Services Committee, Mr. Dirk Gidry.
I make a motion that the council accept and ratify the minutes of the Public Services Committee meeting held on Monday, May 10th, 2021, which calls for one public hearing to acquire any and all sites and/or servitudes that are required to facilitate the construction and maintenance of the Village East Community Center project, and call a public hearing on said matter on Wednesday, May 26, 2021, at 6:30 p.m.
Motion by Mr. Dirk Gidry, second by Mr. Danny Babin. All in favor say aye. Any opposed? Item C, Community Development and Planning Committee, Mr. Danny Babin.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I make a motion that the council accept and ratify the minutes of the Community Development and Planning Committee meeting held on Monday, May 10th, 2021, which calls for one public hearing to amend certain portions of Section 18-9 of the Terrebonne Parish Code of Ordinances, speed hump rules and regulations, to include a listing of a speed hump along Regal Road as per the attached Exhibit A, and call a public hearing on the said matter on Wednesday, May 26, 2021 at 6:30 p.m.
Motion by Danny Babin. Second by Mr. Dirk Gidry. All in favor say aye. Any opposed? Item 5, Street Lights. As per by Mr. Gerald Michel, seconded by Mr. Danny Babin. All in favor say aye. Any opposed? This was lights, installations, removals, and/or activations. Item 6, appointments to various boards, committees, and commissions. A, Recreation District 2-3, 3 expiring terms. Mr. Ed Bice IV has expressed his interest in being reappointed, and Mr. Lee Dillard IV, Mr. Wayne Champagne, and Mr. Brett Means submit applications and resumes for consideration. Mr. Kevin Gidry and Mr. Martin Majewski did not wish to be reappointed. Motion to open and close and vote by Mr. Gerald Michel. Second of Mr. Danny Babin. All in favor say aye. Any opposed? Roll call vote, Ms. Margot. I imagine we'd each vote for 3 people.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Mr. Babin?
Mr. Dillard, Mr. Means, and Mr. Champagne.
Mr. Dirk Gidry?
Mr. Dillard, Mr. Champagne, and Mr. Means.
Mr. Harding?
Dillard, Champagne, Means.
Mr. Michel?
Mr. Dillard, Mr. Champagne, Mr. Means.
Mr. Amity?
Mr. Dillard, Mr. Champagne, and Mr. Means.
Ms. Domingue?
Mr. Bice, Mr. Dillard, and Mr. Means.
Mr. Darren Gidry?
Mr. Bias, Mr. Dillard, and Mr. Means.
Mr. Chair, you have 2 votes for Mr. Bice, 7 votes for Mr. Dillard, 5 votes for Mr. Champagne, and 7 votes for Mr. Means.
Mr. Dillard, Mr. Means, and Mr. Champagne have been appointed to the Recreation District 2-3 Board. Any of them here? I do not believe. All right, moving on. Terrebonne Arc, 3 expiring terms. Mr. Carl Tracy Schwab, Dr. Ruth Ann Gallagher, MD, and Mr. O. Logan Aldridge expressed their interest in continuing to serve on the Board of Directors and have submitted their applications and letters of interest. Motion to open, close, and appoint by Mr. Danny Babin. Seconded by Mr. Gerald Michel. All in favor say aye. Any opposed? Item C, Consolidated Waterworks District Number 1, 1 unexpired term due to resignation, District 3. Mr. Kenneth Ellender wishes to be representing District 3 and submits an application and resume for consideration. Motion to open, close, and appoint by Mr. Gerald Michel. Seconded by Mr. Carl Harding. All in favor say aye. Any opposed? And I know Mr. Kenneth Ellender is here. Would you like to say something, Mr. Ellender? All right, thank you, Mr. Ellender. Go ahead, Mr. Michel.
Mr. Ellen, I sure thank you for being willing to serve. I know you're about to retire, and there may be other opportunities for you as well. But thank you so much for stepping up. We certainly appreciate it. We need good, active people in the parish.
Yes, thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Michel. Item 7, vacancies to various boards, committees, and commissions. We have a vacancy at the Veterans Memorial District, 1 unexpired term due to a resignation. Home at Terrebonne Regional Planning Commission, 1 vacancy due to a resignation. And the Consolidated Waterworks District Number 2, there are 2 expiring terms on June 24th, 2021, 1 representing District 5 and 1 representing District 6. Item 8, announcements. Parish President, Mr. Toops, do you have anything for the Parish President? Item B, council members. Mr. Amity.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Recently, 3 of us went on HTV to discuss the recreation issue, and in the course of that, it was brought to my attention that something I said, I guess I'll say, offended Mr. LaRussa. So, because that was public, I wanted to make this apology in public to Mr. Mike LaRussa, who's the chair of the Recreation Task Force and did a wonderful job, and I respect and have respected for some time now. Mr. Mike, it was not my intention to disrespect you, throw you under the bus, or any of the comments that have been made, and it may have just been a poor choice of words or a misunderstanding in the point I was trying to get across. So because it was publicly done, Mr. Mike, I want to publicly apologize to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Amity. Ms. Jessica Domingue.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Right before our meeting started, I saw in the news that the Pfizer vaccine has been approved for children aged 12 to 15, and we're going to begin having those vaccines starting tomorrow in Terrebonne Parish. So if anybody wants to get a vaccine for their children aged 12 to 15, they'll be able to call that LDH number, find out where they're available, and go ahead and get those vaccines taken care of. So that's children aged 12 to 15. Thank you.
Mr. Dirk Guidry.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. With hurricane season approaching us, I would like everybody to go around and pick up any kind of junk or flying debris or anything that could fly into your neighbor's yards and kind of clean up your drains around your houses. We don't want to put this all on solid waste 2 days before a storm comes to be picking up all this trash on the side of the road. So why don't you do us a favor, just go through, do yourself a favor and us a favor, and go through and pick up your trash and put it to the side of the roads. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Guidry. Mr. Harding.
Yes, thank you. On Monday, May 17, 2021, the Terrebonne Parish Ministerial Alliance is giving vaccine at the old Stanley parking lot. Time will be 4 p.m. to 5 p.m. for everyone that's received the first Moderna vaccine, and also for everyone that would like to get their vaccine for the first time, can also be done by appointment with the health unit to get their second vaccine. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Babin.
Yeah, it's, Earl was here Monday night, and then we get today in our Texas that the positivity rate is back up in Terrebonne Parish to 5.9. I mean, we went down to a low of, I think, 2 or 2.1. I'm just trying to urge all the citizens out there, please get vaccinated. The sooner you get vaccinated, the sooner we can get rid of this dreaded disease. For those of y'all that have never had it, I can tell you after having it well over a year ago, it's the sickest I've ever been in my life. So please consider going and get that vaccine to help everyone else that's out there. Thank you.
Yeah, and I wanted to let all the general public know that, the Terrebonne Parish Park, the Bayou Country Sports Park, cut its ribbon yesterday on the Splash Pad Family Day Use area. So if you've been out there to our new beach in Terrebonne Parish and played there and saw some of the amenities, the splash parks and things like that, that is now open. So if this weekend, if you want to bring the kids out to Terrebonne Parish's park, the Bayou Country Sports Park, and have a lot of fun in the family use area. Any other matters? Monthly engineers reports. As per by Mr. Danny Babin, seconded by Mr. Gerald Michel. All in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion adjourned by Mr. Danny Babin, seconded by Mr. John Amity. All in favor say aye. Any opposed? We are adjourned.